We would like to thank our partners again from Barista. www.ecobarista.com.au if you would like to get 15% off your first order. Do it today. This camel did it, and now look at him. As always, it's just coffee.
It is so hot.
It is really hot. I've never wanted a Gatorade so bad. But welcome to the coffee break episode. This is probably a little bit different to how it usually looks, as was the last episode of the podcast. So my name is Kirk Pearson.
And I'm Rowan Cook.
And this is the coffee break.
Yeah, well, we were just on our way back from filming the Reground pickup, and we thought, why not do the coffee break in the car as well?
Are we locked in here?
Nah, figure it out.
Okay. And introducing to you all as well, film guy for today, our cameraman, Sam. So welcome to the coffee break, Sam.
Thanks for having me.
Sam's been burning around behind us in the cars, jumping in, switching out mics.
Go on, skirt.
Hoping that we didn't lose all the footage to the sun.
Yeah, we did lose a bit of the first one, I think we noticed, but there's definitely a lot of learnings today of not realizing it was going to be a 35-degree day, not realizing that we were going to be in a big, loud truck. We were 1 week off. They're about to get their electric one.
Yep.
We just missed it.
Look, positive learning experience for all.
Yeah.
Positive learning experience for all. Well, let's go into what we spoke about during the episode. I think this is a real eye-opener for me as a cafe owner. And, you know, I hope it's an eye-opener for you as podcast listeners, as homebrewers, as workers in this industry. How can we do just a little bit more to make a big difference? Like, there's never been a more important time in coffee to kind of make this change, right? So we need to contribute to our own little part to improving environmental conditions, or I guess fighting against global warming, because it's essential for our existence as an industry, isn't it?
Yeah,
When we're even seeing that play out right now, all the dry weather in Brazil, you know, it's affecting the coffee supply, which is affecting prices. It affects you in so many more different ways than just like the weather's hotter.
And it's all because you didn't compost your coffee beans.
It's 100% that.
Yeah.
Like, we're all terrible. Just kidding. Look, I think I took out from that as well. We can probably sort of shift a bit of focus on industry a bit more here, and they're probably able to make a big impact collectively, is what I gathered. Did you get that sense as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing that I'm going to do stepping in is give them a call, because we use Reground currently to pick up all of our coffee waste, to pick up our soft plastics. But I just want to call them and be like, is there more that we could be doing for our community? For instance, we're sending out lots of kilo bags to our customers. Are they recycling it with soft plastics? It is recyclable, but is there a way that we could get them to give it back to us to recycle? Like, could we collect bags if people wanted to do that? You know, I think just as she pointed out, just open conversations, ask the questions, and just call them and be like, hey, is there anything more we can be doing?
One thing we've actually learnt throughout doing this podcast, that we've actually got some people within the industry, high up in the industry, running companies that listen to the podcast. So when we found this out, they've told us. And if any of you are listening right now, my message to you to be get in contact with Reground.
Even if you don't think there's a way that you can work together, give them a call and just have a chat.
I think one of the things I learnt from that is just how inviting they are.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a bit of a negative perception of people who sort of work in the environmental space. Like, maybe they're too hardcore. But what I got from Beatrice is that actually we need to have the messaging be approachable. Not like we're here to shame anyone. Let's do this little bit by little bit.
Yep. And it also comes down to, there's been so many advancements in doing it, but at the end of the day, they're talking about the circular economy. They want it to be as simple as possible. They're talking, pick up the coffee grounds and go dump them in a garden. We literally just did a round trip. We picked up just buckets of coffee grounds and then we dropped it off at a garden. That was the whole process.
Yeah.
It's not complicated.
Yeah. I want to ask you about, you were talking about those three things that basically coffee grounds can be used for in a really eco-friendly way. And they were the bricks, so making the eco bricks.
You can turn it into biofuel.
You can turn it into biofuels. That was the second one, make biofuel out of it. And also we can use it to help grow mushrooms and fertilize paddocks. This is a resource that we're just not using properly.
Yeah.
Like there's like, she had that interesting thing that she said where there's probably not enough to service the eco-brick industry because like their volume demand would be so high.
But why does there need to be a level? Can't it just be like you make as much as you can and you'd be like, great, that'll serve this project?
Yeah, and she pointed out as well, like even though they might have a bigger need, Like there's a constant supply, and cafes will give it to you for free.
Yeah,
that's the beautiful thing. There's like, you're doing them a massive favor because they don't have to pay for the waste. Like as a cafe, you have to pay to dispose of all the rubbish that you produce. So you're saving people money, and I really think that model, and I'm so glad they kind of were embracing of it as well, where industry should collect it, make it free for the cafe owner, and then they can do whatever the hell they want to make money out of it.
Or even better, pay the cafe. Pay for the resource.
Yeah, look, if you want to, if that works. But I mean, I think the service of picking it up for free and saving you money on waste is good enough. I'd cop that collectively.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to make a bit of extra money for the cafes.
Yeah.
You know,
I like a bit of.
If it's big eco brick companies, you know, they got cash to spare.
One thing we talk about a lot on the podcast about is like wholesale coffee, right? How you know, a lot of roasters will go and undercut other roasters with ridiculous deals and stuff like that. But she mentioned all press coffee and single O, how they part of the package, and this will be interesting for you to learn, Sam.
Yeah.
They will actually pay for the reground service for their wholesale clients.
So if you use all press, you get it picked up for free.
Yep.
Or single O.
And look,
how much is that costing them though?
I don't know what the fee for what the fee for an individual cafe is, but they probably get a collective deal. But who cares? Like they're like if they're packaging for the deal, making it easier for their own customers.
It's so
like
good.
that's big business working to I guess encourage the circular economy.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I think
also car crash nearly.
Yeah, I think All Press and Single O need a massive shout out, and we need to commend them and encourage more roasters to do that.
Yeah,
definitely.
I love it.
I'm just curious because I missed out on the whole conversation.
Yeah.
Was there sitting here by myself? Were there any downsides to putting coffee into green waste? Does the caffeine affect any types of plants or animals? Did you find anything out about that, or did it all sound really positive?
Well, I mean, I think they're able to find situations where they can just avoid that entirely. Mm-hmm. Worms feed off this. I was reading about them, so it's really good for worms. Worms feed off, I think it was the chaff in particular.
Yep, the chaff goes hard with that kind of stuff. But I think to your point, I think it can be a little trickier. Like if you're at home, it's fine putting it in your organic waste bins and all that, but you don't want to oversaturate your compost with coffee grounds.
No.
So
it's quite acidic, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same. They say don't put too much lemon, oranges, mandarin peels, and stuff like that.
I'm not sure of the exact science, but I have read that like you can kind of oversaturate your compost.
I'm just spitballing ideas here, but if you're a cafe with a reground bin, and I'm not right now, I need to look at ways how I can get involved, because for me it would be like, one thing I have to consider is all the flies that it'll attract. And you know, we got a very small cafe. I can't have flies in there for health and safety reasons. But
can you not store it like down the laneway or something?
Well, for them to get to our bin room where we do store that, they'd have to go down. I don't think they could actually reasonably. Like some cafes, it's just so inaccessible where their waste area is. Like we have to go downstairs with our stuff. So
do you know what I reckon you do? Give them a call.
Yeah, all right, I'll give them a call. But they need to.
Have the answer.
Yeah, they'll need to go through the elevator or something, and I need to make sure that works with my landlord as well. But spitballing an idea here. If you're a cafe with a reground bin, would you be open to having home brewers come and drop their grounds off?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, wouldn't that be cool? Like we create a network of
and I think some people do that. I know there's ones as well where some restaurants will take your old oil.
Yeah.
Because you know how like when you cook with lots of oil or deep fry, it's like, what do you do with all that oil? Some restaurants you can go out, they'll have like their big oil bin thing where they get rid of it. So yeah, I love that community vibe of just like opening it up to other people to bring in their coffee grounds.
Yeah, if you're a cafe, I think that's something you could definitely do that to make an impact.
Especially in the certain areas, like I've just got green waste where I live, but there are still areas that don't have green waste options. So I think for that type of thing, it'd be really helpful.
Well, the thing I get from that is if you put it in a reground bin, it gets reused.
Yeah.
Like it happens. So keep your receipts and all the other rubbish and contaminants out of your knockbox. So keep it pure coffee grounds.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, if you're a cafe that wants to invite home brewers to put your spent coffee grounds in their reground bin, I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Another way we can sort of improve the community element around this.
Yeah.
Sam, did you have any other questions? I think this is a really interesting angle because you might be able to sort of represent the listener here. What other questions do you kind of consider?
Did I just go the wrong way? That's my main question. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you can.
Other way around. Yeah, my main one was just how does it actually affect the green waste? Because, again, missed the conversation. And obviously they're going to have a perspective that is telling us it's good. I'm going to hit this U-turn here.
Yeah, well, I think one thing that I really learned in researching for this was improving the health of the soil. Is one of the biggest things. And if we can, and that's something that even coffee farmers would be able to attest to. Now, we can't send our grounds to, South America, but what if we can, instead of using limestone and some of the other conventional fertilizers, what if we can tap this resource that we have and put it into Aussie farms? And
also what's happening with this, the coffee is getting dropped off to gardens and farms where you have professional gardeners in that. So we just dumped it all into a lot where they'll be adding however much they need to it, as opposed to it's just poured over the garden. So it's being delivered to places where they have a professional level of understanding of how to distribute the coffee within the gardens. Then also different things like we learnt, mushrooms I think grow particularly well with coffee grounds. So you just saw where we dropped it off, there was a mushroomery where they were just growing mushrooms, especially oyster mushrooms.
There's no don't turn here, but we're going.
Speaking of mushrooms, what's like your favorite mushroom dish? If someone's, for me, it's a mushroom pasta. You get some a lot of butter, a lot of thyme.
Are you into the truffle?
I love truffle.
I'm not a big truffle guy. I do it, I dabble,
That's all, you just dabble.
But I'm not a truffle guy. I'm a mushroom guy for sure, but I'm not a truffle guy.
I love that. I love going into Japanese style. Think miso with enoki mushrooms. That kind of thing is beautiful. But mushrooms, underrated. Love it. Love a mushroom risotto. Any of the Italian style going into that. Mushroom is good. Surprise, surprise. And Japanese do it really well as well.
Surprised you gave Italians some love.
I know, that's it.
Sam, what's your mushroom dish?
Mushroom dish. Yeah, probably a carbonara. Slapping lots of mushrooms in with pastas. I am gluten-free, so I will say it's probably going to upset the Italians.
I know, I was just going to say a carbonara, mate. A carbonara doesn't have mushrooms. But a carbonara doesn't have mushrooms in it.
I'm Scottish now. I don't know what you like.
Have you seen that bit where there's that Italian guy cooking on the British Cook Show, and they're like, "Oh, this is kind of reminiscent of a British carbonara." And she's like, "What? You put the wheels on my grandmother and called her a bike?" I just butchered that. It was something along those lines. You get it, people. If you've seen it, you get it.
I should also say, I make a really good deep fried mushroom burger. So, you get your portobello mushroom, flour it, then make some batter with some flour, corn flour, and soda water of all things. Whisk it up. Then you've got your crumb.
So you're doing a wet batter.
Yeah. So you flour it first, then you put it in your wet batter, then you crumb it, then you shallow fry it. Bit of lettuce, spicy chippy mayonnaise on a brioche bun. Fantastic. You can do this in 20 minutes at home, fellas. So, believe it or not, this is listeners rather. Believe it or not, this is a coffee podcast, but the recipe tips are free.
Recipe in the description.
Recipe in the description below.
No, that's really interesting to hear that you would need someone who knows what they're doing with the product to just chuck it into the garden, know how much they can put in or when to put it in what season. That is an important point that people shouldn't just be dumping it because we might ruin, people are dumping it on a nature strip or something.
Yeah,
it might ruin that nature strip.
Give it to the professionals. So you can definitely overdose on everything. We know that for sure.
Also put it, you find in your food and organics bin, it'll break down in there. So that's all good as well.
Well, look, that just about wraps up the episode of Coffee Break. We're just about to return to the pizza shop here, which is where we do all the recording and planning and have our secret layout. But if you want to get involved with the podcast, send us your hot takes to hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com.au. Did I get that right?
Not .au, I believe.
It's hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com.
Yep.
And send us your hot takes. Send us some questions. If you want a question asked on the pod as well, please. And even suggestions of guests. Sam's doing a dangerous maneuver here.
So, a bit crazy.
No, I like this. I like it. Can we execute?
Absolutely.
I love a man that can parallel park. Let's stay on the pod. Let's not finish here.
We've got to get the parallel parking. We've got to see whether it can land.
This is a pretty gnarly one to...
Oh, this is good. No, you come in, hit Sonam's bike. I dare you.
Every time that is the goal.
Sonam's got a bike that
It's an ultimate dad bike. It's an electric bike. It's got the little 2 kiddie seat on the back.
can carry 2 kids on.
Oh, like a glove. Sam down, under pressure. What a way to end the pod.
No,
Thanks
that's-
for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Ciao.